Hello fellow Cravers, GD here to bring you this week's episode of The Update, keeping you updated with the top 3 gaming news stories, the top 5 games, new releases and game events coming this week. Also, if you want to skip to a certain section of the video, just click on the labelled section to the right. Since last week was E3, we are going to be doing something a little bit different on this week's episode of The Update. And instead we're going to recap the reveals that got everyone talking at this year's E3. There was so much going on at the show that we'll be talking about it for months, but as dust settles on last week's blowout, it becomes apparent that there are a couple of things that really stood out. Although almost everything the Big Four brought to the show off has proved popular, judging by the trends we've noticed across various sites and social media, the 5 topics below have been the subject of intense interest online. It's kind of funny that one of the standout moments of this year's E3 was the announcement of a port of a game many of us have already played to death, but you just can't stop the Grand Theft Auto juggernaut. Fans have been calling for a PC release of GTA 5 since it was first announced, so Rockstar's long-awaited capitulation was a triumph in itself. But it's just how terrific the new version looks that really has us excited. What a coup for Sony to host the announce, especially with exclusive PS4 GTA 5 content in the offing. GTA 5 on the PC and Xbox 360 already looks great. What Rockstar squeezed out of the aging consoles is a technical marvel, but with the power of next-gen consoles and PC, the developer is unleashed from the limitations of the older boxes. Watch the weather effects, dynamic real-time lights and shadows, the reflections, it's amazing, and despite being technically a port, we guess, I predict that we set the bar for the generation for at least a year. Look, I know it's an annual iteration on the series, but the thing about FIFA is that it deserves its spot at the top of the queue. Konami does an excellent job with Pro Evolution Soccer, innovating and pushing its rival to stay competitive, but for sheer quality you can't match EA Sports' flagship series. Americans can keep Madden, it's a great series, but it's not football, is it? That EA Canada hasn't chosen to rest on its laurels, but keeps pushing the beautiful game so that it generally both more beautiful and interesting to play each year is incredible. We keep expecting it to run out of steam, for the latest FIFA to have an off-year release, a middling reviews, for the series to get a swift kick up the jacksie, but it will never happen. It just keeps getting better. FIFA 14 was the first in the series to be built on the Ignite engine, a new tech created by EA Sports specifically to power next-gen sports games, and it showed. But FIFA 15 is the first to be developed with the next gen firmly in mind, and that shows too. If you can at all avoid it, don't get it on the PS3 or the Xbox 360 version. Look, to be honest, we expected this one to be a bit of a flop, and we're probably just about as happy as EA is to have been wrong. A new Battlefield so close to the controversially troubled Battlefield 4, a Battlefield developed outside of DICE and by the Dead Space team no less, and the Battlefield about cops and robbers is a recipe for something less than delicious. But oh, we of little faith, just look at Battlefield Hardline. That's a rootin' tootin' Battlefield game, alright, no mistake. Visceral have been beavering away on this for a while. Yeah, actually, now that you come to think of it, we ought to have been asking questions about what was up to down there in Redwood City, and it seems to have been worth its while. EA really pulled a good one on us by opening the beta right in the middle of the E3 2014 show. Everyone rushed off to get involved, filling the internet with discussion, and now Hardline is a name on everybody's lips, and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare has fallen right off the radar. Will that hold up when it comes to November? Well, probably not, but EA has definitely won the first skirmish. It's typical of Nintendo they managed to draw huge interest to its products despite refusing to attend E3 the way everyone else does it. Rather than take to the stage and speak to press and trade live, Nintendo streamed pre-recorded presentations aimed straight at its users, and later hosted various live streams at convenient times for local watchers, again providing an intimate feeling peek at its upcoming slate. Despite the slightly underwhelming lineup, this approach paid off big time. Super Smash Bros. 3DS and Wii U in particular was one of the most talked about topics of the show. Both versions are expected before the end of the year, and as such, changes to the game system and to individual roster members are of intense interest to our hardcore fans. Palutena was confirmed for Super Smash Bros. During Nintendo's major event, and Pac-Man was introduced at a press roundtable shortly thereafter. You expect the announcement of a new Legend of Zelda game for the Wii U to dominate Nintendo discussion in the wake of E3 2014. But no, I assure you, this past weekend Super Smash Bros. Has been the name on everybody's virtual lips. Nintendo is going to have a good crimbo, that's for sure. Microsoft really brought it to Los Angeles this year, lining up game after game and staying away from endless waffle about TV and other extraneous additions. Things that might have convinced the trade the hardware will sell will do nothing to convince the core. It kept its message tight and had plenty to show. Halo 5, Guardians, the Master Chief Collection, a new Crackdown and Sunset Overdrive led as exclusives, but strong showings from third parties with Assassin's Creed Unity, Dragon Age Inquisition and The Division among others cemented the Xbox One as a console with games you want to play. It's easy to be cynical and say that Microsoft could only improve after its dire 2013 conference, where it was literally jeered and booed by its audience, but the fact is it could have dropped the ball again and it didn't. All the platform holders are scurrying around hoping that hardware sales is going to improve across the board, and so Sony and Microsoft have laid down their arms and embraced as brothers. Microsoft's public retreat from the arrogance of early years is charming and also very clever. So those were the voices that were heard most clearly outside Los Angeles this week. But what about the hundreds of other games and products on show? Just as AAA industry is becoming more and more hit focused, so too is consumer awareness. Marketing, hype, PR, whatever you want to call it, it's not quite working for the majority of the industry right now, with lesser titles being swallowed up in the noise around a few very heavyweight hitters. We were surprised to see so little interest in Rise of Tomb Raider. It has a rubbish title, yes, but the previous game did really well and the new trailer is quite atmospheric. Likewise, Rainbow Six Siege doesn't seem to have captured the imagination. Press are all gooey over this new take on Tactical Squad competitive multiplayer, but the news seems to have left consumers cold. Bloodborne, a new PS4 exclusive from the Demon's Souls team, doesn't seem to be pulling the same slavish interest as any of the Souls games inspires. Has Sony erred in making a new IP? Speaking of Sony, nobody seems to have anything interesting to say about Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Surely the property hasn't hit its expiry date? Now let's see if we can make some chatter going on about some of the games of E3 2014 that haven't felt the spotlight as strongly as it deserves. No Man's Sky, anyone? Now it's time for the UK Top 5 Games of the Week.
A spazio verticale, Balotelli, che gol, splendida rete.
What have you been up to, Blazkowicz?
Shooting, stabbing, strangling Nazis.
So that's it for the top 5 this week. If you want to see if the game is in the top 20, just click on the link in the details below. Now it's time to look at the new releases of the week, starting with EA Sports UFC on Xbox One and PS4. Next, we have How to Train Your Dragon 2 on the Wii, 360, PS3, Wii U and the 3DS. Also, we have Altair's Rhoana Plus, The Alchemist of Ireland on the PS3 and PS Vita. Next, we have Stronghold Crusader 2 on the PC. Then we have Le Tour de France Season 2014 on the 360, PS3 and PS4. And finally, Pro Cycling Manager Season 2014 on the PC, all out on Friday the 20th of June. Now as for the game nights of this week, now I know we're in the middle of the World Cup, but we will be doing a Worms Battlegrounds night on the PS4 sometime this week. So that's it for this week. Tune in next week to get updated on gaming news, the UK top 5 new releases and upcoming game nights for the week on The Update.